can't expect you to be like me, like me. You don't have the proper ID. You can barely compare me to anything else. I'm a rare breed. I can't expect you to be like me, like me.
Legendary. That shit there gonna make you legendary. This shit here gonna make me legendary. Make me legendary.
Hi, welcome to No Nonsense. I'm Tiptoe. I'm joined with Allie and Morgan. And we're going to discuss Book of Ryan today. This is Allie's choice.
Yeah, we thought it'd be cool to kind of each take in turns to pick some music that means something to us. It's like really important, and then celebrate it. It's just like why we're doing this, right? Because we love the music. And I chose Book of Ryan by Royce 5'9". So some of you might know, I've been sober for just over a year now, and music's been a really important part. Thank you guys. Been really important part of that. Especially like as I've started to realize like my relationship with alcohol. And I think there's certain artists obviously who've been through similar things in what they talk about. Crook has been incredibly influential to me. M has been really influential. Recovery as an album is really important, but I think that gets talked about a lot. And I think Book of Ryan doesn't as much, which is why I wanted to pick it. And I think for me, it's not necessarily just about addiction or just about alcohol, but I think it's that sort of introspection that Royce has in it about himself and kind of looking at yourself.
I agree.
And that was really helpful to me to kind of, figure things out. And the way he can speak, even though we've had incredibly different lives and experiences, but it's still relevant. And his ability, that was amazing.
I think so too. For me, it's more so, I think Book of Ryan is more important to me than M's recovery in that aspect, because it shines a light on me as a parent being an addict, and two of my kids being addicted also. And then having to deal with my mom drinking, stuff like that also. So it kind of like the whole package for me. And then I think the way he talks about it, the way he talks about how he saw his dad, how he saw his brothers, things that happened to him, his kid. The one part that hit me is when he was talking about his dad, and then his son said, "I was the skit." Yeah. That one, it just really hit me hard, which is like another reason, like off subject. Tupac's "Dear Mama" is another song for me that really affects me hard on both aspects, my kids and me as a mom.
As a mom and a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And then
a mom
also,
and a daughter.
Right, and a daughter myself, mom and a daughter, there you go. Yeah, so I really love Book of Ryan also. Yeah.
I love how he's not afraid to go against those mental health stigmas, especially because mental health for anybody is hard, and then to be a man on top of it, because it's not talked about. It's seen as weakness.
And a
black man,
yeah.
right? If you just as you go further into it, it's seen as a weakness, and that if he's the fact that he's able to articulate that into music, and then to let people know that like it's okay to feel this way.
Yeah,
it's a stigma in Hispanic culture too, and even a lot with women, lot, because we thrive on trying to be strong for everybody,
right?
And for us, it's like, well, we don't need therapy. We're not crazy. Like we're not crazy, But here we are, just going off and doing stupid shit. There's a reason why. And I think I got to commend him on that. He speaks about therapy often, how it helped him.
And then he started that foundation.
Yeah, the foundation in Detroit. My friend, shout out to Alla. She was there. She's a photographer, and she knows him and Kaniva and all them. And she was there, and she said it was really, really amazing.
I mean, that's the bit I think that resonated so much for me, is because as alongside the alcohol stuff, there was the mental health stuff, right? And again, it's like, I think everyone is just taught that, you got to be strong, and, you're at work, and, you don't want to show weakness because you're afraid that people are going to think that you can't, you're incapable, or, you know, and you're always trying to put on this sort of front. And I think that, you know, when you're kind of dealing with stuff like that, and someone that you admire anyway, just, you know, as an artist or anything like that, is brave enough to take that step and actually speak about it openly, kind of makes you go, oh, actually it's okay, like I can do that too. And you know, that, and I think that the introspection of really looking at yourself and then understanding who you are and what the experiences of your life are, and not to be ashamed of anything and not to try and hide it away, but just embrace it and say, this is me, this is my experience, and it's okay.
I think Crook does that too a lot. And I love him for it. His sober house. And I just love how they all, like, Joe gets knocked a lot, but he does, like, he'll be like, how's your mental health doing today, you know, on his podcast. I don't know if you guys ever watch it, but he asks that a lot. I think they all kind of went into this like, okay, enough's enough. I don't know about Joel. I think Joel still gets high and stuff, but I
think like it's Joel, there doesn't seem to be like an addiction or substance abuse thing, but there is definitely, I think, a sort of
substance. There's
like,
some substance.
Yeah, but like mental health sort of thing, you know, Joel's posts are often like they're really positive, or it's checking up on people and stuff too, which I think
I always thought
is
his
really
was
nice.
more based off of like his physical attributes, you know what I mean?
I think he's more weed, like weed, and I don't see weed as I think some people have a problem with weed, but I think weed can be used for a lot of medical elements like pain and stuff like that. But speaking on the therapy, addiction, it is a disease, but it also starts off because there's something deeper going on in you, which is why you tend to chase that high, why you want to get high. You're trying to block all that shit out that happened. And therapy is a big key to get. I did therapy. I didn't do rehab. I went to a few NAs and I was just like, it's not for me.
Which
but
is not for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. And it's not a knock to you if it is for you. If rehab helped you, NA, AA, more power to you. But therapy helped me a lot. Helped me to see all the crap I was going through inside that I had pushed down so far down.
I mean, for me, it was two things that came together. Like I didn't do AA or anything, but you know, dealing with the alcohol stuff couldn't happen without also dealing with the, you know, the mental health side, you know, like you have to kind of look at them together, because they were linked to, like, you know, they couldn't really separate them out. And again, that's just why I think, you know, music like this that does tie those two together. And, you know, you think about a song like Cocaine, which is, you know, addiction.
Amazing.
I mean, it's such a powerful song. It's just, hits every time you hear it.
That was my drug of choice, cocaine.
Right. And then, I mean, luckily never went down that route. But then you got songs, you know.
I'm glad.
But then you got songs about, you know, the mental health thing. And, you know, you're saying, you know, check on your strong friend.
Your strong friend, yeah.
Like, it is literally, you know, everyone is holding something, everyone's hiding something, everyone's got something going on, and just because they appear strong on the outside, and you know,
in fact, sometimes it's those people that you want to check on the most. Your most supportive or strongest friends tend to be the ones that are holding the most. Because they they feel like they need to take care of everyone else. And he talks about that in that strong friend, how he didn't realize at one point that he was taking care of everybody and not taking care of himself, and that led, you know, to more and more and more, the more alcohol and more, you know.
I think that also pertains to his brother Greg, how he saw his brother Greg, the superhero with the cape, protect Ryan,
I love that skit too. That one I listen to all the time.
And I think it's true, because a lot of people, I've had people say, you're very strong, but I got shit going on all the time, and you guys know it, a lot of stuff. But I tend to be the same way, and I think it's true. I tend to take care of everyone else's needs over my own.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to a point to where I'm like, okay, I need to back off, because I recognize that I need to back off. I need to say I can't do it right now and tend to my own mental health. And there's times where I'll say, okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna go pray because I need to get right. And I did that yesterday, and I feel so much better.
And it's being able to recognize that, and that's what's important. And that when you need to, when you need the time, and when you need to take a step back and take a break and all that. And the problem is so many people don't, and that's when you're more likely to hit breaking point.
Close this door. Hold on. The door just opened on its own.
Oh no.
Yeah, get out. I think so too. I think also for me, when I got clean, I had to stay busy. I kept myself busy because for me, I found out that it's a proven fact that a craving lasts 5 minutes. Your craving, your urge lasts 5 minutes. So I would stay busy during those moments
and distract yourself.
Yeah. And then it just stuck with me. That's why I'm always doing something. It's just the way I am now.
Yeah.
I think I got to commend you, Allie. A year is very important in sobriety. It's the hardest year. Your first year is the hardest one to get through.
It's amazing just to reach that point and oh my God, I did that. Like it is.
Yeah. I think it's the most important.
Yeah.
Whatever they give you, a chip or whatever, but just the most important milestone in recovery.
I mean, strangely for me, COVID has actually been a blessing because I probably wouldn't have got sober if I hadn't, because it broke my patterns. Because I wasn't going to the office every day, and I then wasn't going to the pub after work every day. And because we went to lockdown, and I was like, I'm not going to stay in London during lockdown. If I'm stuck in, my apartment, I'm going to come and, stay at my parents' house in the countryside and, be around them and have the space. And actually being able to remove myself from all the triggers and the pattern and everything.
Right. So a question, did that help you recognize that there was a problem? That being able to, seeing that you weren't going, you know what I mean?
I'd already
a pattern.
I'd kind of already recognized it. And, it got to the stage where it's February last year and just before my birthday, and I went out and I drank way too much as usual. I mean, horrible amounts. And I ended up sitting on the floor in Five Guys waiting for my burger. Not even by the chairs, just on the floor.
On the floor. I've been there.
And you kind of think, okay, this has to stop now. I reached that point where I just was like, I cannot do this anymore. I didn't like who I was when I was drinking. So I'd kind of already recognized that. And then it was a couple weeks later, I'd had a few drinks, but I'd been trying to not drink as much. But I think lockdown kind of almost gave me that opportunity to go, no, this isn't a cut down or not drink as much. I'm just going to stop. And I think that, and removing myself from all of that, I think gave me the space to be able to think and recognize and to sort of see everything. And that was around when Crook was doing some of his sober house stuff. I think it's the first time I ever saw you, actually, Maria, was during one of Crook's things. And listening to that, and then having the time to listen to the music. And I think, that's why, Book of Ryan and Recovery and a lot of Crook stuff, all of that music, especially at the beginning, was really, really important to me. I was listening to them a lot.
I think for me, I just, because I tried to get clean a couple of times, but not because I was tired, just because I knew my kids needed it. They had and it didn't work. So one day I just woke up and I was like, I'm tired of this shit. And I just never went back. I never did it. I have a question for you. When you go back to London, you go back to your job, what are you going to do to not get triggered or get back in that pattern? That's important.
That's something important. that has been worrying me. So I like I was back in London in September and I went out with a few people, and I think for me, I've been really, really honest with everyone and open about it. So everyone at work knows, everyone knows I'm not trying to hide it. And I think because they know there's not going to be any peer pressure, they're much more kind of aware of it. They don't, they're not going to be like, oh, come on, just stay. I'm like, no, I'm done. I need to go home now, And I think it's just at first probably limiting myself to how much I'm going out. And just maybe once people have had a few drinks, I'll just say like, I'm going to go. I'm just going to go home and not be around it.
Did work ever trigger you? Do you ever have a day at work where you're like, fuck, this day sucks, I need to go have a drink?
I think everyone does. Everyone does. I mean,
right. So what will you do on those days? I'm trying to figure out, do you have a plan on mentally what you're going to do? Because you can always call me and I'll be like, Allie, no.
Yeah,
Let's
I think
talk. Let's talk. Let's just chat. Let's just
I think it is going to be things like that. It's going to be having people to call if I feel like I need to, if I need to, and certain things I can do. And but this is all stuff that's, as we're kind of coming out of lockdown and life is going to start getting back to normal a bit.
Right. There's many triggers that you wouldn't even think is a trigger, and you don't learn it's a trigger until after you're clean. It's so weird. Stupidest things triggered me in the beginning. I was like, why do I want to use because of this? But even happy things, like a birth in the family. We Mexicans party hard. You can't baptize a kid. You can't have a Holy Communion. Somebody can't die. Somebody can't be born without us going to fucking party and getting fucked up.
Yeah.
So even those times we're like, why do I want to use? Because my cousin had a kid. Like, it's so stupid.
Well, that's where the term habit comes from.
It's a habit. It's a habit, and it's a horrible one.
They become associated with one another.
Yeah, and Mexicans are known for partying like that for every stupid reason.
Yeah.
It's Friday. It's Monday. At least, whatever.
We Brits are known for, we'll just go to the pub. I mean, there's a big drinking culture in London. I mean, in the UK a lot, but in London, with every pub off, from 5 o'clock is just absolutely
Let me ask you something. What part of London are you from? Because I have a really good friend. He has a PhD in computers and technology. He's a really good friend of mine, and he lives in London, kind of by where Peaky Blinders lived, or their church was.
That might be the East End. I haven't seen it. I work in central London, so like
he's
easy to get around.
Very intelligent dude. He's involved with another good friend of mine named Millie, but he has a little boy. You guys would be great friends. Like he would be someone you could talk to, because he's really super supportive, real genuine dude. Hey, shout out to HMD and AJ. I love you guys. Yeah, good friends of mine. Known them for like a few years now.
Having a support network, I think that's the important thing, right? It's having the people around you. And I think that's why I decided to be open with everyone about it, because
I'm glad you did.
It's just easier, right? I mean, I went out and I was sitting there and I was with some people and I'm there with my nice big glass of soda water, and
they're like, you're not drinking? Like, no.
But because I all knew, but people, someone will turn to me and go like, are you doing okay? Because they knew it was my first time out, with them since I'd gotten sober. So I think that but just to kind of tie it back, I don't think I would have had the confidence to be so open about it without the inspiration and the music. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
It becomes a therapy of its own anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Music is a therapy.
Yeah.
I have to say, I would rather see M rap more about being sober and the mental health part than the whole I take a pill, blah blah blah, because he's been doing that lately. I've been thinking, like, why are you putting this in your lyrics?
Yeah.
Talking about getting fucked up.
I mean, some of my favorite M songs are about his struggles and all that, and
exactly. I thought Recovery was amazing. I liked Recovery. A lot of people don't. I thought it was brilliant. I think I like him like that. I like Conscious M.
Yeah, I love that. I love that album. I love Deja Vu off of Relapse. I think that his description of addiction and everything is
I like his
incredible.
Stuff like Till I Collapse, stuff like that, because it's motivation, inspiration, but when he starts rapping about taking this and taking that, it makes me feel like, are you catering to the masses on what these young kids are listening to with the lean and all that, or are you really, like, what is going on? Why are you
back in that mindset?
Like, what happened? Because I like Conscious and Inspirational and best.
I do. That's sort of my favorite. Most of my favorite M songs are the sort of motivational, inspirational stuff.
I love Slim Shady when he's dissing motherfuckers too. Don't get it twisted. But I don't like all that pill horror. I'm gonna rape and all that shit. I mean, I think he's talented, and what he's doing, his rapping on it, is like he's rapping his ass off. But it's not something I'll play.
I love it. I do love a bit of Relapse. I do like the sort of Slim Shady horror stuff. But
I liked Revival, and a lot of people didn't like Revival.
I like Revival.
I thought Revival was dope.
There's a couple of songs. There's a couple
was amazing.
It's a great song. There's a couple of songs on there that I'm not a huge fan of.
Right.
I'm not going to lie about it. There's a couple of songs that, I probably will skip.
Yeah.
But people are like, this is the worst album that's ever been done. It's a 2 out of 10. It's just, his trashed his legacy. And I'm like,
well, thank God, because we got Kamikaze for that. So
yeah.
Kudos to you guys who didn't like it.
Yeah, thanks. Because actually, we've got the M now, and he's amazing.
We got the famous Joe Budden diss in that one. I love Joe Budden too. I was hoping he would have come back and been like,
is it in, what song is it in?
It's in Fall.
Oh,
he's
like,
Joe, you better fasten it.
That's right.
And all that whole
the button.
Yeah,
that was a really good scheme.
I gotta say though, for Royce, he's one of my favorite artists because his production on every project he's done, whether because now he's producing, the Allegory is my favorite album. It's kind of neck and neck with Book of Ryan.
Yeah,
because I think Book of Ryan, what it's talking about,
Book of Ryan
very
is
high for me.
Book of Ryan for me is just it's a more personal connection.
Right.
But
whereas I think the Allegory might almost be the better album.
Production wise,
right?
Yeah, and he did that. But I think all his projects have dope production in it. Like, I love all his beat choices. I like all the concepts. I love his concept albums where it's one whole concept. Like, I love that. It's I could bump that all day, every day. It never gets old to me. And I gotta say, he's one of the few artists that does that. Music to Be Murdered By is a concept, but it's got different things in it. I am talking like the Allegory was about one whole issue. Book of Ryan was about one whole issue.
Yep.
One whole concept. I love that kind of shit. That's my favorite kind of stuff. Like, I'm very into conscious and woke. That's why the Allegory is very high for me. I love it, what he's talking about.
I think these two Royce albums, it's the skits for me almost that work so well.
Well, you said that people aren't doing skits so much anymore, and if they are, they're not always so they're not really not connecting very well. But for both the Allegory and Book of Ryan, they just
I'm gonna mute real quick. My daughter's calling. Right. Just continue. I'm listening.
All right.
But those two, I think that they did really well with connecting with those skits. I really love I mean, the skits in Allegory are great. I still prefer Book of Ryan, skit wise, even just because they're very personal.
Yeah, but it's the whole sequencing of, and that's like such an important thing I think with albums is, it's the sequencing of it. How do the songs kind of carry through? How do they lead into each other? And I think Book of Ryan, again, me slightly more so than the Allegory, but the whole sequencing, the way the skits fit in.
Yeah, Allegory too. I love Grace, like the skit with the little girls. Like I told my sons, and I was like, this is where my grandkids need to be. Get on it, damn it. I want them talking about this kind of shit.
It's important at a really young age because they're very impressionable, for one. I mean, and it's good and bad that they're so impressionable because there's so much out there that can affect them. But to be able to get them so they have an early concept of stuff that's going on in the world.
But not just that, financial, like
well, that too.
Shit.
So like
school don't teach
if you
that
start
shit.
at like the very, very lowest concept, they can grow with it, and it's a lot easier for, I think, kids grasp so much more than we do. So I
got a meeting, a little message.
Box,
we all got the little message. It's good.
But I think they grasp stuff so much easier than as an adult, because you've already got all these misconceptions and things, and so
because I talked to my 5-year-old grandson, little Johnny, and that's my little terror. I love you, Mio, but that little kid and him and I love to argue. Like we literally, I'll be like, hey, I said no, but and he wants to fight back, but I'll tell him stuff about stocks, or like, do you know what Bitcoin is? You know why they're doing Bitcoin now? Do you know what red line districts are? And he catches that shit quick. He the same way he catches how to say fuck off, he catches that shit quick. And
kids pick things up, so and that's why, like, you do have to be careful sometimes what you say around them, because they will pick it up and they'll use it straight back. And I mean, this is just from my nieces and stuff, but at the same time,
I gotta say this, I don't condone my grandkids cussing. They say bad words, I'm on them. My kids, though, how they raise their kids, sometimes I'm like, you can't let them say shit like that. But when they're here, they know better. I just want to make sure, because when I said that whole fuck off thing, no, I don't let him sit here and be like, fuck off. No.
Oh, anyone who's got, kids or been around him knows that that's not, what I mean? Like, that's very common.
Some people are okay with it, though. Some people think it's funny and cute. I don't.
I've giggled at it, but I know it's not funny.
I know some people like that. Yeah. And it's just,
I don't like it.
I don't like it coming out of kids. But so you got to be careful about that. But there is that thing of protecting them too much from stuff, and actually, I'm not saying throw them in and make them watch news and TV shows and all that. Obviously, you still want to have some barriers, but
I don't know. I think
they got to know what's going on at least, and have an idea about the world. I think, and not hide them away.
I was very honest with my kids. Very, very, very honest. I think that's why we have this relationship we do, and they're super honest with me. They'll tell me things I don't want to hear. And I'm the same way with my grandkids. I think it's important, but I think you got to know, like, you're being honest. You got to tell them this is what's going on, but you also got to say, this is why you can't do this. This is why you can't be like this because of this going on. That whole George Floyd thing. Yeah. We had a long, I had talked with my grandson, little Johnny, about that.
And that's the kind of thing that I think kids, and again, I was gonna say, I don't have kids, but I know a lot of people that do. But kids pick up a lot more than I think some people realize. Like, they're going to hear stuff. They're going to hear about George Floyd, or they're going to hear about war going on, a war going on somewhere, or, and you got to find a way to not try and hide them from it, and not, kind of brush it under the carpet. And like, how do you talk to them, and how can you kind of help them to understand?
Because I just seriously thought my kids didn't know I was in my room getting fucked up. but they knew. They knew even at a young age. You can't hide shit from them.
No.
So it's just best to be honest with them, you know?
Right. So I mean that like going back to the Book of Ryan, that song about cocaine,
Yeah.
like you could tell that he, at the beginning he was telling him that his dad was always trying to hide it, but he always knew. Like he tells that I found this cocaine. It's like even though his dad's going, "Oh, that's not mine. That's a work friend's," and then
Exactly.
in the song, in his head he's going, "Okay," but he's like, "But don't tell your mom."
Tell your mom.
So,
and when
right.
you said don't tell your mom, that's when Ryan knew. He's like, "Oh, you're lying."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
Why
just goes to
can't
show you
I?
that kids know. I mean, I think he said he was a teenager at that time, but even kids younger than that, they know. So
yeah.
That
exactly.
song is such, I think, a good explanation for people who don't know what it's like to grow up in that kind of environment. And I think that's what Royce does so well, is he really, like that one and Power, I think those two especially.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Power. Yeah.
I like
like
Boblo. What's that one?
Boblo.
Yeah, I love that one because it takes me back to my younger days and the fun times I had, the little little things we would go to.
J. Cole's feature on that is
amazing.
But yeah, those three.
Go ahead, Allie. Sorry.
I was just going to say his ability to make you visualize it, and feel it, is amazing.
Yeah, so Power does that.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite skit is "Who Are You?"
Yep. And it gives me chills at the end of it, where he talks. His son's like, "I was going to write this, but then I went to go start it, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know where to start because who are you?"
Yeah. That I tell my kids that. I tell Seren all the time because she'll be like, "How do you know this and that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's so many layers to me. You have no clue who I really am. Mm-hmm. What you think your parents are and who they are is never the truth, because there's so much more that you don't know about them because you weren't with them growing up."
Yeah.
Right? And that's where it gets tricky. And that's why I love that skit so much, because his son's like, "I don't even know you."
I mean, I'm lucky. I have a really, really good relationship with my parents. They've been married for 50 years now.
Wow. That's a blessing.
Yeah. And, it's great. But as close as I am with them, there are still times, when they'll be telling a story and I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there's always
this many times this long of knowing them and you didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I think that, that is just a reminder, I think, to everyone who can hear that about relationships, and you're never going to know everything about everyone. You're
not. And the thing is you're so used to looking at your parents like they're your disciplinary, they're your provider. Only what you see and what you hear. And there's times, that they had lives. You don't realize they had lives way before you came into the picture. Mm-hmm. So you don't know everything. You hear stories through time, like grandparents tell, "Oh, when your mom was little, blah, blah, blah." But you don't know. And so that's amazing that I like how he named his album after what his son said he was going to call the project.
Yeah. That was really nice.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's my favorite skit in that whole album.
Because it does hit you so hard.
Right.
Doesn't it?
Yeah,
especially
it does.
As parents,
exactly.
As a parent, it hits really hard because you think that you're doing everything that you need to do to connect with your kids, but then you hear that and going, well, maybe I'm not. And I think it ties in with Royce because he talks about so in Caterpillar when he says you want to be number one. What is it?
He says,
"You want to be number one on the mic. I want to be number one in my son and daughter,
my kid's life." Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it goes along. That's another thing that ties in everything is that that's part of the skit is saying, I wasn't there for them, and that's why they don't know me because I haven't been here. I've been focusing on my career instead of my family, and I think that's great.
Even
he can
recognize the way it
that.
Starts though.
Right.
The way it starts, it's like he's talking to his dad, and then he ends up looking and the face he sees is his son.
Son, yeah.
Because he realizes I am my father.
My father, yeah.
That is so deep, man.
It's that cycle, isn't it? The cycle of relationships and
yeah. That skit is so deep, and I don't think people realize or give it its props on just the skit itself.
I think it's one of those that it almost takes a number of listens, like
to comprehend.
And once you've heard the album a few times and you get the concept and all that, and then there is that time when it hits you and you just go, shit, that's like
hey, didn't Crook have a tweet like that said, is there a line in hip hop or rap that made you be like,
right? Yep.
And
just hits you like that.
That's one of those fucking times. I have many of them, but there's
a lot.
Right?
I mean, there's a lot of songs and a lot of lines that do make you do that.
Right.
I mean, mine is the last line of the Dream tapes. God knew I was serious, so he put me in charge of the stars, and that's what it's gonna be my next tattoo. Is gonna be that, because I love that one.
My next tattoo is the opening line to Slippin' when he says to struggle, and then COB, but I'm getting that in the back of my neck for COB.
Actually, talking of like tattoos and addiction and everything, I'll explain mine to everyone in case they are ever wondering. All of mine are very personal, but this one here on my arm, which is
I like
the
that
sky, is actually inspired by the line from Not Afraid. I'd shoot for the moon, but I'm too busy gazing at stars.
Oh, so nice. That one's nice.
So that's the inspiration behind that one. So that's my sober tattoo.
All my tattoos are done with homemade like hood shit. But I have this one, and people are like, you need to cover it. But it was one I got when I was really fucking high on that shit. And my husband at the time was doing it, and we had been up for days. And it's so fucked up looking. Okay. You can see where he dug in deep, and it's so, and they're like, cover that shit up. But I don't, one, because he did it, and second, because it reminds me of that time that I'm no longer there, you know. But I think one day I might get it covered up. I don't know. Might have to move past that.
Yeah. But you got to do when it feels right.
Yeah, and I got it on my leg, in my lower, like you can't show that. Get blocked on this.
Yeah, there's always going to be some tattoos that are not going to make it onto our channel. So we'll leave those.
The DMX one I'm probably going to get on my arm with some other stuff, and I have an idea for my scar. It's kind of like a vine growing up the scar, so it can cover the scar and then go down into my, like the roots.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you all updated with our our tattoo adventures.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think we should do a tattoo episode because tattoos and hip hop go together.
Yeah. There was that. Did you see that cool
Netflix? Was it Netflix?
Netflix.
Or what was
it? LA Originals.
Oh yeah, I wanted
that was amazing.
Mr. Cartoon and
oh my god, getting a tattoo would be amazing.
I got a joke about that. I said I've always wanted a tattoo by Cartoon, but they say it's going to cost me an arm and a leg, and I kind of want those tatted up. So I guess I'll just go to the guy in the hood and get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. I loved it.
His artwork is incredible. It's that was interesting.
I've been to that shop out there in Skid Row. I've been there. Yeah, it's amazing. LA I've been all over there. But you guys should, if you're ever in the States, you should definitely go check it out, Ali.
Oh,
they
got
a lot of cool stuff in there. Pictures of artists that his artwork. Even what's the photographer's name? Steven? Is that his name or something?
Esteban. Yeah.
Esteban. His pictures, like his photography's up there. They got nice rides in there. It's amazing.
Yeah. I said when I get out to LA, I'll let you know. You can come meet me.
Yeah. I don't know him though, but I've been there.
Yeah. I wanted to bring it back just to Caterpillar because I remember watching a breakdown of that. I think it was Reggie, and he was breaking down Royce's verses, and he had a theory on the second verse that Royce is talking to Joe, and that was really interesting.
I haven't seen that one. I'll have to watch it.
Always stay professional. Never.
But I could see it.
Yeah, and actually, when you hear that and you think, oh, actually, that kind of makes sense. It's not obvious, but once you hear that theory and you listen to it again, you kind of go, yeah,
I
maybe.
kind of thought he was talking to all the up and comers, like always stay professional, you know. But it
can be taken in that way, but
yeah,
I think it yeah. So I just remember because we were talking about Caterpillar, and I was like,
I have to listen again.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to listen.
It does. It does actually make sense.
Yeah, it does. I haven't given Yellow Wolf another chance. I know he dropped a couple of albums, but ever since that whole thing with Royce and that whole thing, I kind of felt like.
Well, he just didn't he
I don't
just?
know.
Did anyone else see that? It's just today, like he tweeted something about the Confederate flag or something.
I thought that was old.
Is that an old one?
Someone had pulled it up, and that was the reason why they don't.
Okay.
They don't mess with him.
I didn't know if it was new or not, but.
Like I'm not sure. I had heard his wife is mixed or something.
I think so.
Or black. I don't know. But the fact that he didn't school the guy that was saying the N-word bothers me. And I know, like, from what I don't know Royce personally, but from what I've seen from him, he's a real upstanding moral compass to a lot of the industry, right? He always speaks his mind. He's not disrespectful unless you disrespect him. Mm-hmm. He tries to spread some gems out here to all these youngsters. I don't take what he says lightly. And when he said that, that's what bothered him. And it just made me sit back and have to look at Yellow Wolf differently. Because I did used to like him. I used to like him. Like, I used to think like he was pretty dope. And I've seen Stevie reacting to him. And Stevie, I just haven't watched him because of that. I don't know.
Yeah, Yellow Wolf, I think, there's talent, and he's made some good music, but
and I'm not saying everybody has to not listen to him. It's just for me, because I am Hispanic. I'm not black, but I'm Hispanic, and if he has that energy towards blacks, then it shouldn't be any different for us.
No, it that kind of thing bothers me. I mean, it takes a bit to get me to stop listening to someone. Like, there's artists that I just, they come across as like they're dicks, and I'll still listen to them.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't listened to West Side Gun either anymore. And I know, and there's a serious thing though. I really thought about giving him another chance. If he would have just came at me, I might have. But then he came at my followers too, and I kind of felt like that's where he fucked up. If he would have just came at me, hey, I could take it, and I might have given him another chance. But he showed his true colors, and I feel like he's unappreciative of his fans. I feel like,
especially since it seems like he's doing a lot for his community anyway. Because
right,
he's got a lot of good stuff that he does, but then like your attitude just turns everything off.
And it just makes me feel like, are you doing it because you really want to be a part of that community and you really care? Or are you doing it because it's giving you goodie points? Because obviously you're a dick and you only care about money. Apparently, from what you said, it's all about money.
Private jet.
Private,
yeah. That's in honor of Shadow. Tiny jet.
But it was little jet.
Little jet.
And I don't like Royce is Royce, Crook, and I'm gonna just say them two for right now because there's others. But Royce and Crook are two artists that I hold very high up here as far as the respect they give, the things they say. They make it a point to not be out here looking stupid. They make it a point to give teachable moments to their followers.
I think they realize that they're in the eye, like a public eye, that they have to be very conscious of what they're saying, what they're doing, and that they're not contradicting themselves with
doing
something good, but then being an asshole.
Yeah, Tracy Lee is another one that is
Mm.
like that. Like he never says anything stupid, like Little Jet.
But I think it's because of that. So when Royce does say something about Yellow Wolf, whatever, you do kind of take it more seriously. It's not
Right.
just
Exactly.
It's not for clout or anything. It's serious. Like that he takes that to heart, and that's a part of it. You know, a part.
Yeah.
It's hurting a part of him.
Because if like Little Yachty had said it, I'd be like, well, fuck you. I'm gonna listen. You know, like who are you?
Yeah.
Right.
But the fact that Royce said it, it's like I tend to believe it. I didn't hear any retract from Yellow about it. Like nothing was said about it from his camp.
No response. Yeah.
No, yeah, we let go of the guy. He has no right. Nothing like that was said. So I was like, well, I guess it's true.
Yeah.
And Royce said it, so obviously it is.
Mm.
Kind of
Yeah.
how I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, Book of Ryan's a special project to me too.
Yeah. I just think it's, like I said, I could have picked Recovery because it's really important to me, but I just feel like Recovery gets a lot of talk when it comes to, you know, the personal addiction stuff. Like rightly so, it does get a lot of attention, but I just felt that Book of Ryan, you know, I think deserves you know, equally, and that's why I just wanted to highlight it. I just wanted to show it some love, really, and you know, thanks Royce for it, because it's been really great and it's been really important.
I want to
go ahead.
I was just saying, I wanted to go back to one of the other songs. So we talked about cocaine. I wanted to talk about Power really quick.
Oh yeah, Power.
Just because, like, especially like the last part of it when he talks about, you know, for all my friends who live vicariously through me because they don't have a father. Like, this shows you that not everything that you see on the outside is real. Like if you step inside of our home, this is what really goes on. So, you know, just be careful of illusions of you know, how people are putting themselves out there, or how you might perceive something to be, because it's not always true.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's a great song for that, and it hits you really hard too. Just that whole narrative. You know, he does such a good job at telling that story. Those two stories.
It's like the saying, it's all the grass is always greener on the other side, but is it really?
Not true? No.
And everyone's putting forward, you know, their best version, you know, of themselves, their family, you know, and there are so many families that are going to look perfect on the outside,
right?
And they look perfect.
You have no idea. You open that front door and you have no idea really what's going on.
Your home is who you really are when you're in your home. When you're outside, you're being who you want people to see.
But it's like, you know, it's like social media, you know, pictures
all the time.
Yeah, but you know, so much of social media, you know, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever, so many people will go, I feel so inadequate because look at all these wonderful lives everyone else is living, but those people are only posting the best parts, and you know,
and it's like
they probably feel exactly the same about you. You know, that they're feeling a similar thing. And I think that, you know, Morgan, you're so right about that. Like that bit about power and the way that Royce can put that forward.
You know, what I just, speaking of power, I don't know if you guys ever seen Godfather of Harlem. I just found that show, but I streamed it. I'm seriously caught up now. Like in the last 2 days, I have been like, phew. Anyways, there's this part in there where it's the singer. He's a black singer trying to come up in the 60s, and he's involved with the mob's daughter. She's Italian. The mob guy dad doesn't want her with him because he's black, right? And she goes to his house, and the mom doesn't want her. His mom don't want him with her either, because she's white, right? So she goes, well, it's rude to have your guest out here. Don't you gonna invite her in? And she starts telling her, like, this is how it is for us. So if you guys get together, where are you gonna live? Because nobody wants, you know, you can't live in the all black neighborhood. You can't live in the all white neighborhood. Where are your kids gonna go to school? And she's looking around and looking at the difference in the house, the furnishings. She realizes then that she's privileged and what she's got, you know. That shit, that's what Power, the song Power reminds me of. When I saw that part, it I was like, wow, yeah. people don't know.
Book of Ryan is an album that has so many gems
Yeah.
sprinkled throughout it.
Right, and then the end of Strong Friend, and he does all those quotations from, Kurt Cobain, and then Kendrick Lamar, Chappelle. I think it was Chappelle.
I think it was Chappelle.
Yeah,
and then
names
and they
people.
did like his little shout out. So Chester Bennington was huge for me, and when he passed away, that was huge, and that was such a great thing with the Strong Friend thing, because if you read anything about him from his family, from his bandmates, he was a strong friend, and he had so much going on underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So he did. Royce just did a great job in just explaining, stuff like that, like just giving great examples of people who are suffering.
Friends.
They're strong friends, but they're suffering on the inside. So
yeah, and I think he does a great job in general, because he's such a great MC. He's truly one of the greats. Like, a lot of people don't give him his props. He can keep up with Eminem. Sometimes he bests Eminem. I think there's been a few songs where he has bested Eminem.
Because we've actually done this whole thing, and we haven't talked about the skill of Royce. Like, we've talked about the content, but he does it all whilst rapping at an incredibly high level.
And to be able to put a story together, his storytelling skills are immensely high. His even his I'm gonna talk my shit back, super high. His just lyrical ability is amazing. He's one of the truest forms of MC, a real MC, I feel, because he can fit every single pocket of what hip hop is.
I always make a joke that he's the only rapper that makes me feel stupid, and I like it. I like how stupid he makes me feel, because that means he's so good that it's not something that you can just listen to one time and get. You have he has breakdowns of it, and I love that about him, that he's so great at doing that.
I just call him the Google rapper, because
gotta Google everything,
because you have to go, and he says it in Upside Down on the allegory. He says, no, Google this, because he does have these references that you're just going, I don't know what you're talking about, Royce. I'm going to have to go and do my research to understand your song now.
I bet a lot of people read the allegory after the allegory dropped by Plato.
Probably.
I bet I've read that a long time ago when I was younger, but I bet a lot of people went and was like, what do you mean it's a book?
Yeah.
A lot of these kids, but he's super knowledgeable. He's always, like, even in, was it Not Alike, where he's talking about being a pile of shit in the park? Like, that whole knowledge is
powerless.
Knowledge is power, but powerless if you do not acknowledge it.
That's the one. Yeah.
That shit, like, it when he said that, I was like, damn. That is a quotable. That's a quotable. If we were still doing the Source magazine, and if Benzino didn't have that shit in the quotable section, I would be pissed, because that is quotable. He's got many quotables.
He's got a lot of things like that.
The Source used to have a section called the quotables for bars like that. He's got many, and that's just a testament to his skill of an MC. He's highly underappreciated, underrated. I'm glad we did this, giving him his flowers while he's still around.
I think he's got to, and I find it frustrating that he doesn't get talked about more in the top. I'm not saying he doesn't get love. He does. You see it. There are a lot of people that do talk about him, but when people are talking about top 20 lists of the greatest MCs, or I'm not saying he has to be there, but I'd like to see. I personally do think he should be there, and just if you're just going on skill, but he's underappreciated overall, I think.
I'll tell you what makes me mad is when the stands act like Royce wouldn't be around if it wasn't for M.
He was here before.
He was already rapping before M came into the picture. M found him through his music.
Yeah, they met at some gig or something, and there's nothing wrong with having discovered Royce through M, right? There's nothing
No,
wrong
There's
because
that's the difference.
we all
Right.
discover, like every artist you discover through someone else because of a feature or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
I discovered Tupac through Shock G, through the underground.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean digital underground.
And I wouldn't know as much about Royce if it wasn't for him. Like that definitely made him more visible. I'm a
But it's
fan
a
of
difference.
Royce. I'm a fan of Royce because of Royce. And I
Right.
recognize his own talent. And he would have, you know, if they'd never met, Royce would still have had a career and success because
Exactly.
he's that good.
Uh-huh.
Right. And I'm gonna
So-
tell you what, he dissed the shit out of D12, and his diss tracks were better than D12's.
Mm.
M wasn't involved in the dissing part, but he tore up all of D12. Like
Yeah.
his diss tracks. I don't know if you guys ever heard him.
Yeah, I've heard
The
some
back
of them.
and forth. He was way better. Like I was just like, I don't know. When they say stuff like that, I just feel like you're uneducated in hip hop. Like
Yeah.
you only like M, and that's a problem.
It is. There's not all of them, but some of those there's
The loud ones.
the loud
Very
ones.
loud ones.
Yeah.
Not all stands are bad. The stands that are super standmatic, like super stands that only listen to M and say M is the king, M is the GOAT. If it wasn't for M, we wouldn't have this, and this. Those M's that those stands are the ones I don't like. There are a
Yeah.
lot of stands that I do like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
The normal stands.
the
normal
normal stands are fine, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with being a fan and liking his
Exactly.
music, and there's nothing wrong. He's my favorite artist. I've said that before, but
Yeah.
I love hip hop. M just happens to be my favorite for various reasons.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think so. But you appreciate other artists.
'Cause
Steve.
I did hear hip hop before M came along. I remember
right.
Tupac and various other things. But yeah, there's that very small, very vocal minority who
Yeah.
don't shut up, who have no understanding, and then start going at Royce.
Oh, I hate that.
Or
I hate that.
Yeah.
Like the whole
Yeah.
like you don't defend him enough, but then you defend him too much. You're like, make up your
Why-
mind.
Wait, why does he have to defend a grown man though?
He doesn't. He does it. That's the great thing about Royce is he does it out of loyalty and out of friendship and out of respect for someone he loves. And that's
if he
Same
sees
with
something, if Royce
Right,
sees
Crook, same way.
someone saying something about his friend that he disagrees with, that he thinks is disrespectful, he'll say something about it.
Right. It's the same with Crook. Like Crook don't have to defend him if you don't want to.
We
he
know
does
they
it
have a
out of
relationship and they know that they respect each other, and so Crook will say something.
Oh,
But
just stop
Right.
going after them. My God.
but when people
It's not their job though.
no.
But when people started going after Royce, and then I just remember seeing, there was the whole Snoop thing, and then Royce said something, and then everyone started going at Royce and saying he was being disloyal and he was all this. And
Sorry, door open again.
that's all right. And I remember seeing someone just came up on Twitter going like, I feel so bad for M. Like everyone, like who can he trust? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, if M has a problem with Royce, he will say something to Royce, right?
Right.
Here's the thing.
We
though,
don't
I
see
agree.
everything that goes on. Like we don't know. All we see is like a very small proportion of, we don't understand their relationships. We're not their friends. We don't get it.
Right.
Don't assume that M's really upset because Royce said something. Like they've known each other for fucking.
M's probably laughing his ass off if
Probably.
he ever saw it.
But they've known each other
I
for like
agree,
over
though.
20 years. I think they can sort it out themselves.
Right.
They
But I
doesn't
agree
need
with
everyone else.
Royce. I agree with Royce. Doggy Style was a classic, and I agree that I kind of agreed with what he said about Snoop. A lot of people got mad at me too because of that, and that's like M would agree. That's the only thing is you guys are fanning out over M when M absolutely would agree that Doggy Style
he
is a
cleared that up.
classic.
Right.
Yeah.
He cleared that up anyway when
Yeah.
that interview he did after he dropped side B.
Yeah.
That it wasn't so much what he said, it was how he said it and where he said it. Like
Right.
there's a time and place to be making comments like that, and he felt like
Yeah.
he didn't do it, right.
The list and everything wasn't the problem.
It didn't mean that, you know,
He
I
was
think
upset that
everyone
he said that
right.
he even mentioned his name because he didn't have to. I
Yeah.
agree. Like I was like, you named all these classics, these legends. There's no reason you had to say I can live without him. Like it's like you purposely threw him in there.
That's the thing, because there are others like,
and it's because you were
who-
with Charlemagne talking, and we all know how Charlemagne feels about
you know,
it.
because there are others who didn't make Snoop's list. Like I think Jay-Z wasn't on the list, or Nas wasn't on the list, or Rakim. You know, I can't remember the list, but you know, there would have been others.
Jay's not on my list either, though.
Well, it's not on mine either, but sorry.
I mean, it's no shame,
No,
but I
it's
think
just not.
Jay was amazing
Yeah.
when he's Jigga or when he's Ho. I don't
Yeah.
like his newer
No.
shit, not so much.
Yeah. But there were others who are, you know, considered the top, the elite, who didn't make Snoop's list, but he
Right.
didn't mention them. He specifically mentioned them. And I think that's where you just go, why did you
Right.
have to do that? Why did you have to bring it up and then be slightly disrespectful?
Like Cece got on me and said, I can't take your word because you have Crook in your top 3. I said, Crook is in my top 3 favorite. I have many lists.
Right.
You have no idea how many fucking lists. I got my top 5 gangster rappers list, got my top 5 bitch list, best bitch list. Like when it comes to talking that chick shit, like Little Kim, you know, stuff like that. I got so many lists. And Crook is when he accused me of not, what do you say? What do you call us, stands?
He did call us stands, not just not M stands, but just stands of Crook, I think at that point.
I think next week I want to do an episode on this whole topic of Ransom versus Crook and why I feel Crook is the better rapper, and it has nothing to do with because he's on my favorite list.
But I think we can get into like
technical
favorite versus greatest and different technical aspects, and how do you measure a GOAT? How do you measure greatness in rap?
I know my reasons why I think he's the better, but anyways, I know why M felt that way. I kind of feel M had a right to. I kind of think Snoop just kind of threw that in there because he's with Charlemagne. Charlemagne's always talking shit about M. Or who knows? Maybe Snoop was high and didn't really think. You know,
that's always a possibility.
You know, he was high and didn't realize, and maybe was thinking, you know, everyone's always talking about M, all these stands. Well, I could actually live without it, and maybe he didn't mean it in that type of.
Yeah, and that's
we don't know.
Right, you don't know, and I think.
And when they go attacking him,
right,
like that,
those stands, the really, really, really bad ones, just they take everything at face value and don't think about what's going on, what we can't see. We don't have access for good reason. We don't have access.
Not just that, but the stands don't want a Snoop versus M because Snoop is an OG in this game. He's got a lot of backing, and they have no idea what the shit they're doing by getting involved and trying to.
They don't realize, because they don't understand hip hop in that way. They don't realize that actually the only person who's going to lose is M.
Yeah.
No matter what happens,
no matter what,
like even if he wins the battle, he loses the bigger picture. Just the respect from the whole thing is just gone.
And that whole thing at the time was floating around, the whole white people in hip hop bullshit. And I'm just like, you guys are acting the fool out here. You don't know what you're fucking doing.
Yeah, you think you're defending him, and actually you're just gonna hurt him more.
They always hurt him. That's the problem. Is they always hurt him. They don't realize it. Like, I don't ever say shit like that. I'm like, Duke can defend himself. He can put it on ink. You know, he can write his rap. And
he's quite capable of doing that. If he wants to say something, he'll say it. If he doesn't, it's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, it's not my life.
Yeah.
I got shit going on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need yours too.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I just want to say, Royce the 5'9", I appreciate you as an artist, as a human being, as an intelligent person, and as the spiritual intelligence that you lead from, that I really respect and admire. And thank you for all the great music you have created.
Yes.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's helpful and inspiring, and please give us some more.
Right. And give us some more that's going to last. So like,
Yeah,
this is even in 10 years, that album, even the Allegory too, the Book of Ryan is still going to be so hard hitting, even,
Yeah.
you know, so long down the road. The longevity of that album alone is going to be, I'm anxious to see what it's going to be like.
yeah,
You know, just
Me
to
too.
see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much it still affects people.
Mhm.
I find it funny when people find Bar Exam and they're like, oh shit, what? And I'm like, he's been doing this shit. Like, he's been doing it. Taxi Driver, that's another favorite song of mine. Just the whole aspect of hip and hop, and he's got the whole Tupac and Biggie situation in it. I don't know if you guys ever heard that song.
Yeah, I've heard.
Royce.
I mean,
He's got numerous
He's great.
numerous amazing songs out there that
Yeah.
date back to
yeah.
the beginning.
So if you
Check it out.
haven't, go check it out, because you will not
Yeah.
be disappointed, because
No, definitely not.
it's good.
Definitely not.
Um, Anyway, thank you for watching, as usual, for sticking with us. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Let us know your favorite Royce songs, album, how you relate to him, what's important about it. Again, you got any ideas about things you want us to discuss, let us know. Hit us up. Follow us on social media. All the links are in the description. And until next time. See ya.
I have one thing. Wait, one thing to say.
Go.
If you guys have an album that's a classic or a real hip hop, I'm talking hip hop album, not no littles, you want us to go over, like discuss, drop the name in the comments. Also, if there's a specific year in hip hop you want us to discuss, drop it in the comments.
Yeah, we're
That's it.
really wanting to get into all that. So let us know.
Peace, love, and respect.
Bye.
I can't expect you to be like me. You don't have the proper ID.